SeaWorld conceded to phasing out killer whale shows in San Diego. Representative Schiff of Burbank, who authored the ORCA Responsibility and Care Act, said thank you, but says it's still not enough.
Here to talk about his proposed legislation to end ORCA captivity and also to tell us what he can after a classified briefing on the Russian plane crash is Congressman Schiff, ranking member of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. Welcome back. Thanks to you for coming here. So we know you've been briefed on what happened in the Sinai Peninsula with the Russian plane crash. What can you tell us? Do we believe it's a bomb? Do we believe it was an ISIS affiliate?
You know, there are still a lot of unanswered questions. There are a lot of indications that this may have been a bomb planted by the ISIS affiliate in the Sinai. They're a very lethal group, growing in power and sophistication. At the same time, we can't yet rule out a structural flaw with the aircraft. This aircraft had a strong tail strike landing in the past. Sometimes that can create a structural problem that could cause the aircraft later to fall apart. It is telling, though, I think, that the Russians, who have access to the wreckage, they're pulling all their people out of Egypt, which presumably they wouldn't be doing if they thought this was a mechanical problem with a single plane.
And of course, we automatically start thinking of our security here at home. Where are the biggest vulnerabilities right now in our airport security system?
Well, one of the things that I'm very concerned about is what we suspect may have happened in Sharm el-Sheikh, and that is they went around the security. They defeated it by essentially having someone on the inside that could place a bomb in a package. So we have a lot of work to do, even in this country, to make sure that airport employees that have that access are well screened. We test our airport security, but it often fails. And in fact, even when we test the people manning the metal detectors, and I can't go into specifics of how we test them, but quite often they fail. And simply, our defenses are not adequate to the job, and we're really going to have to step up our game.
Yeah, you've been very critical of this and cited some of the reporting on that the government has done to test the system. Some people have even suggested we go to a higher level of armed security among the TSA in what I would call the front of the house. Is that the appropriate response, or should there be more attention be paid to maybe the back of the house, if you will, the cargo and the people who have access to the aircraft?
Well, I don't think we necessarily need stronger armed people, at those entry points, because that isn't likely where the problem is going to be. I mean, we've had, this tragic shooting, for example, in Los Angeles. The bigger challenge, I think, is to make sure we keep explosives off the aircraft. We don't allow on with explosives, and that means we need very good screening procedures. We need to make sure that the employees with access are well vetted. And those, I think, are the more important precautions that we really need to improve, rather than just having a highly visible armed force there.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about SeaWorld and the phasing out of those killer whale shows, specifically in San Diego. What's the next step that you would like to see happen there?
Well, I'd like to see an end to orcas in captivity. I'd like to see this generation of orcas, these just incredible, majestic creatures that are meant to swim 100 miles in a day or go to depths of 300 feet quite routinely. You just can't keep a creature like that in a small tank in a humane way. So SeaWorld has taken a very small step to end the show, but not to end the captivity, not to end the breeding program. The legislation that I introduced would put an end to all wild captures of orcas and the breeding program, so that this generation would be the last generation in captivity. I'd love to see SeaWorld instead partner with others to create ocean sanctuaries for their existing orcas, and then have no further breeding or capture of orcas in the wild.
Well, that's one we'll be following for quite some time. Congressman Schiff, thanks for coming in.
Great to be with you.